Hi folks, this is Karim Rao from IT Visualizer channel. We will continue our lab, the Terminator lab. This is the video number 1. We have been discussing in the previous video the following. We have discussed that we will begin a new series of videos. We will begin creating a virtual network on VirtualBox 7, and this virtual network will contain two servers, as I discussed before in the introduction. Two servers, one will be the primary domain controller and the other will be the secondary domain controller, and it will contain a lot of other server roles as we have seen here in this diagram. We'll begin here, go and download VirtualBox 7 and Packer Hashicorp, and then begin working to create the lab scenario. We will begin creating the first server, which will be SKN HQDC0112. This will contain Windows Server 2012 R2. So let's see how we can begin working with the lab. First of all, we need to go and download VirtualBox. So what we will do, we need to go the website. We tell him VirtualBox. Okay, and then we will go and download. Okay, this is the website of VirtualBox. We download VirtualBox 7. I have already downloaded and installed it already, and here it is. This is VirtualBox. Okay, and then we need to go and download Packer Hashicorp. It's an exe file actually. Packer Hashicorp download. Okay, this is the website. So let's close this one, and you can download it on multiple operating system. We need for the Windows, and we need to install or download the AMD 64-bit version. Okay, and at the end I have already downloaded. So let's see here. If I go to the downloads, I will show you all I have already downloaded. If we go there and we will open downloads, and here it is. This is the one, and inside it we will find an exe file. We will take this exe file and then put it in a folder, okay, with another file which is called JSON file. So this file, in addition to another file, these two files will begin communicating with the VirtualBox and then begin creating of our virtual machine that we will install on it Windows 2012 R2. Okay, so we need first also to have another file which is a JSON file. It will be working parallel to this program. Let's see first how we can download the JSON file. It's a couple of programs, or not a couple of commands, that will tell HashiPacker or tell this program what are the parameters of the virtual machine. Let's see how we can get it. So let's first, and again, another thing I forget to say, we need to download Windows 12 R2. So we can tell him Windows 12 2012 R2 download. Okay, the ISO file, and then we go to the evaluation center, and then we can download. Okay, this is we will download the 64-bit version. I have already downloaded and working with it. So now we have, according to this diagram, we have downloaded the Packer Hashicorp. Okay, we have downloaded the VirtualBox. We have downloaded the operating system. We have another thing left is to download the JSON file or the script that will command or will redirect the Packer exe file to create the virtual machine. First to communicate with the VirtualBox program, and then open it and then begin creating a virtual machine according to a certain parameters. I will show you all this, but let's first go to GitHub, because someone has already submitted a ready-made JSON file, okay, to create a Windows 2012 R2 virtual machine. Okay, so let's see this program, or so let's see this file. I have already put it in my let's go further. Just a moment, guys. So it will take a little bit of time. Just a moment. So we need to tell him not now, and then we need to, I think I have already done it yesterday. So if I go to history, just a moment, and history, this is the GitHub, okay? So we need to close this one. Again, sorry guys, okay? Just a moment. I have a little bit of an issue here with the Firefox. Again, we go to the history, okay, and then this is the GitHub, and okay, here is some scripts. Okay, just a moment. So here what we are concerning with is this JSON file, okay? So this is the file, or this is the script that we will use. Just a moment. So this is the script that we will use, this file we will use to uh, in conjunction with the Packer exe file to create the virtual machine. Okay, so let's close it. I have already downloaded. So at the end, here is the folder, or let me show you the folder we will work from. So here is Packer 4. This is the program. Okay, here we have the Packer exe file here, and then in another folder we have the JSON file. Okay, this is the JSON file, and actually both are in the same folder. So we have the Packer exe file, and then we have the JSON file. These are the two. This JSON file contains some setting. Let me show you all. If I open it, so here we go. There is a couple of things. First of all, he ordered the Packer program exe file to create a virtual machine, then to wait for 5 seconds until the booting of the virtual machine, and then this is the size of the disk that will the size of the virtual machine disk, which is 300 gigabytes, and this is the ISO. Okay, so we have downloaded the Windows 12 2012 R2 uh, ISO file. This is the file that it will use, or the ISO file that it will use to install the operating system, and this is something called ISO checksum. This ISO checksum, this is something, a unique number that is uh, related to the ISO file of the Windows 2012 R2. It's something that you want to make sure that this file was not altered, or it was not played with, or some hacker changed it. So the sum, or the ISO chumsec, this is a unique number that is identifying this ISO file as an original ISO image from the Windows Microsoft website, and it's not altered, or it is not played with. So how we can get this ISO sum check? This is simply you need to tell him the location of the ISO file, and then to issue a certain command. Let me show you all how we can do this. But first of all, let me close all of this. We need to open the PowerShell program, or the PowerShell prompt. Okay, here we go. Okay, let me okay, I had opened it twice, so let's close this one. And then what we need to do, we need to go to the folder that contains the ISO image. Let me see if I have an ISO image that I can test with. So if you go there, I think I can go to important CD images. Maybe I can have, or have, an ISO file. We can test it. Okay, where is the ISO file? Okay, I think I don't have any ISO files here. Okay, so anyway, I think this is Dart. Just a moment, guys. So for example, guys, let me go further here. This is where is the Dart file? Okay, this is, I have an ISO file Dart. Where is the Dart? Okay, this is an ISO file. Okay, let's go to documentations, installers. I think, let me go to the NUS 64-bit. No, this is not an ISO file. So let's see if we have an ISO file we can test through it, so we can go there and we can go further and see if we have an ISO file. So let's see if we have an ISO file. Okay, if we go further, I need an ISO file to test or to get its hash value. Let's see if we have any ISO file we can test it. If you go further here, okay, I think I don't have here an ISO file that I can test. Anyway, what you will do here, we need to go to tell him this command file dash, okay, or file hash. Let me, sorry, wait for a moment. File, no, not this one. It is called file, not this one. It's file hash, file hash. Okay, let me see, because this is a very known command. Get file hash. Okay, get dash file. Yes, this is it. We can see here if we go and do this. Just wait for a moment. If we get in get dash file, here you can see that it is the file I have already downloaded. Okay, get file hash and get the ISO sum check, or the unique number that identifies this ISO file. Then it will appear here. You can copy it, and then what we will do, we need to go to the JSON file and add it. Okay, so this is the location of the ISO file. This is its ISO sum check. I will discuss it later. I have a PDF that will discuss or explain each one of these variables. And then this is the memory size of the virtual machine, and this is the processor. So we have 2 GB of RAM for this virtual machine. We have one processor. This is the name of the virtual machine. Okay, DC01, the first domain controller, and 2012 system. We have the WinRM password, packer, and the username. WinRM, this is the way that the packer program will communicate with the virtual machine to automate the installation process. Okay, so for Packer Hashicorp to create the virtual machine, first of all, it will make a connection to the VirtualBox program using SSL connection. And then after installing the Windows operating system, it use the WinRM, okay, protocol, or WinRM service, okay, to complete the automation of the installation, or to complete the automation of or installation automation of the operating system. Some scripts need to be installed automatically, so this will be done using the WinRM service. Okay, so we can continue here. This is, you have two kinds of virtual machines. You have VMware virtual machine, or you will have VirtualBox virtual machine. So for example, let me show you all. Here we will use the VirtualBox. So here we have two types. If you have a virtual or VMware, we will use this section. Okay, if we don't have this VMware, you don't have VMware Workstation Pro or vSphere, we will use the VirtualBox. Here we can see, okay, this is the type of hypervisor that is used. This is VirtualBox, and then this is the type of operating system. So here Packer Hashicorp is telling the VirtualBox that I need to install a certain type of system, which is Windows 2012 64-bit system. And then a couple of things here, a couple of commands to boot in a certain order. Okay, this ISO chumsec, he will get it from upward in the first section, and the ISO URL, he also will get it from upward in the variable section. So if we can see here, this is the ISO URL, and this is the sum check. Here we will get it, here I'm telling him to get it from up. Okay, and then a couple of things. First of all, how to communicate with the virtual machine using WinRM, and use the username and password identified or stated here, these two ones. Okay, and then a couple of things. Then he will tell him to for example, after finishing the installation, it will shut down the machine. Okay, and shutdown will be after 30 milliseconds maybe. And here we are telling him to add two things actually. Or here we are stating a couple of things. First of all, we need to tell him to add or to add a DVD-ROM. Okay, so here we are adding to him to add a DVD-ROM. This DVD-ROM will have the auto unattended XML file. So what he is stating here, he's stating here the memory of the virtual machine, he will get it from the previous section. The CPU, he will get it from the previous section. The firmware of the BIOS of this virtual machine will be if I, okay, this is also another thing. And then at the end, it tell him to add a DVD drive. This DVD drive will contain an unattended XML file. It will guide the Windows operating system, or it will answer some questions automatically during the installation of the Windows operating system. For example, the name of the machine, the partitioning of the hard disk. So all of this will be done from a DVD, or we will have a DVD file, okay, that contains the auto-attended XML file. Let me show you all here what I mean by this. If we go to Packer 4, okay, and go to this one, here is the Packer file, and this is the JSON file, and then we have something called scripts, and then UEFI, okay, and then GUI. This is because the Windows operating system will be graphical interface. This is one for the core. If you need to install Windows 12 R2 core operating system, here we will go to the GUI, and then we have this file. This file, it will be inserted in the virtual machine, okay, and it contains the XML file, this one, okay. This XML file will answer a couple of questions, okay, concerning the Windows 12 R2 installation parameters. For example, let me show you all. If we go uh, this file, let me just to be more specific, this file, it will be in the DVD, okay. So one will ask, where is the DVD of the Windows operating system? It will be used, but it will not be inserted as a DVD. Okay, it will not be inserted as a DVD into the virtual machine. He knows how to get it, but it will not be inserted as a DVD device. Okay, he will get it and begin installation of it. Okay, so we will have the DVD that will contain the auto unattended file. And then another thing here, he will add a floppy disk. Okay, a floppy disk, its main function is to help the Packer Hashicorp to go and uh, begin working with all of these scripts. So this one script, it will clean up the virtual machine after installing Windows updates. So we all that after installing Windows updates, it will be stored on the local hard disk of the machine. So this will clean up the installation files of the Windows updates after they are installed on the machine. And one other thing is to install the VirtualBox guest additions. These are some files that will help you to communicate with the VirtualBox VM. You can share files between the guest or your laptop and this virtual machine. It will help you to increase or to make the display of the virtual machine more efficient. It will do a lot of things actually. This is equivalent to VMware tools if you are working with a virtual machine in VMware Workstation Pro or vSphere, okay? And also this one script to communicate with Microsoft website and install the Windows update. So this will install Windows update automatically. This will clean up the Windows update installation files. This will install VirtualBox guest additions or equivalent to VMware tools, okay, to make it available to share things between the guest and the host, okay, and one to disable auto login. So all of this process, uh, you need to log into the Windows operating system to begin installation of these scripts. This will be done, okay, automatically. So the Packer HashiCorp will log in automatically to the Windows using a username and the password that we have identified here, okay, and the installation of the scripts, the last section, okay, of this one. If we show you here, we can see here that we're telling him to install a certain script, these scripts, okay, clean up, disable auto login, VirtualBox, okay. These are all PowerShell, and these are all in the floppy disk. So the main focus or the main function of the floppy disk is to contain these scripts, okay, or it is like a container. The packer can access it to begin installation of this uh, scripts. Okay, so in basic, let's show you, or there is the variables that will contain the virtual machine parameters, the processor, the RAM, the name of the machine, all of this is the first one, variables. And then builders, it will guide the packer Hashicorp to the kind of hypervisor used. This is VirtualBox, and it will tell the VirtualBox that I am choosing Windows 12 R2 operating system, and a couple of things, the RAMs and so on, so on, so on. So it will get it from the variables section, and then it will tell him to add a floppy disk to contain the scripts that will be installed after installation of the Windows operating system. And it tell him also to add a DVD-ROM that will contain the unattended file, or the auto-unattended file that will automate the installation of the Windows operating system. Let me show you all something here. You can, for example, if you need to automate the process of the installation of Windows, you can go to a certain website. Let me show you all something called Windows answer file. This is called answer file generator. Okay, so what you can do, you can go to a certain website. Okay, Windows generator. Okay, let me show you all here. So here what you do, you need to go to, for example, tell him I need to install Windows Server 12 R2. Here, this is the things you need to answer. For example, during installation of Windows, it will ask you about the product key to accept the user license agreement, the name of the PC, the language, the regional setting, okay, the location, the installation of the hard disk, how to be partitions, and the usernames to be created. All of this will be included in a file. You need to insert it in the Windows 12 R2 ISO image, or the Windows DVD image, and by doing this, the installation of the Windows will be automated. Okay, let me show you all a certain file, or let me show you what this auto unattended file will contain. Let me go to this one. So for example, let me show you something here. Let me go there here. Let me get it a little bit further. So again, let me close this one. So you can do this, and then after, at the end, you will get this ISO file. You can insert it in the Windows ISO image, or what we will do now, this file will be here. Okay, let me go there. Okay, this is the file. Okay, this is the auto attended file. Let me show you all a little bit here. What does this file contains? It will contain a lot of things actually. The first section, we can see here the setup language, or this from here to there, you can see this what it says. I here have a file. It will say the user interface language will be English, the input language will be English, system language will be English, the user local will be English. This means Windows is installed unattended. The following will happen. The user interface will be displayed in English, the keyboard layout will be set to English, the system setting will be set to English, the user local will be set to English. Okay, this is useful for organizations that want to deploy Windows in a large number of computers and want to ensure that the computers are configured in a consistent manner. So the unattended file, okay, it will help to automate the installation of Windows. So this is the first section, okay, of the unattended ISO file. Let's go to the other section. Okay, the second section, we will go there further. This is a large one. Okay, and let me show you all what does it mean. This whole section, I here also in the PowerPoint presentation have said it. Okay, this section, what it will tell, okay, it will unattended installation, or it will apply certain things. First of all, the disks will be wiped. 4 partitions will be created. First of all, the Windows recovery partition, and then the EFI system partition, and then the Microsoft reserved partition. Okay, so here we will partition the hard disk to 4 parts. First of all, Windows recovery tools, and then EFI system partition, and then Microsoft reserved partition, and then 100 gigabytes. Okay, the partition too. So the C partition will be 100 gigabyte, and all of these three are related to the Windows operating system, recovery, booting files, and so. Okay, the Windows image will be installed from the install.wim file on the first disk in the first partition. So here he's also redirecting. Uh, uh, he's telling that you will install Windows from the DVD from this file. Okay, a user account will be created named Packer. So here also in this section we are telling him to create a username named Packer and the password is Packer. Okay, so you can log into the Windows. Okay, during installation of Windows it will ask you to create a user. This is the user and the password, and accept the user license agreement, and the organization will be Packer. So this is the second section of the auto-attended uh, XML file. Let's go further and then see the last or this another part. If you go there, so what this part contains, let me show you all what this part contains. I think this is related to the setting. Maybe just wait for a moment. Here is the setting. Okay, I think not this one. Let's go further. Okay, this is the setting, and here is the component, or we need to go to the component to this one. Okay, I need to go to all of this section or this section. Let me show you all also what does it say. Okay, this other section, it will tell him that the input language will be English, the system language will be English, the user interface will be English. Okay, I think he's repeating the process. The user local will be English, the computer name will be named so and so. This section contains the computer name. The time zone will be Egypt standard. The server manager will not be opened when the user logs on. So he is telling you not to auto open or auto load the server manager. This is a very good option actually, because it's not necessary. I can just open server manager when I need. The administrator account will not be hardened against security vulnerabilities. What I mean by this? Here it will not be given a strong password, or sometimes it will not given a password at all. He will not harden it. Not mean by harden it here, for example, it will not, for example, the password will not be expired. The password, we will not set a password for the administrator account. All of this, what we mean by not hardening against vulnerabilities. Anyway, after installation, we can modify this account and rename it as we need. And then the user accounts will be hardened against security vulnerabilities. Here, the normal user accounts, we will harden it, or it will be given the standard privileges. Okay, the user account, the password should be complex, and it will be 7 characters. So all of the security standards will be applied to this user, but the administrator account, we will not apply any security standards on it. After that, we can configure a group policy to harden the administrator account. And actually this is very, very logic, because the administrator account, I need to use it to do a lot of things. Okay, actually I can use it to prepare the machine, to install certain programs, and then after that I can disable it and control it. Okay, anyway, then the initial configuration task will not be opened when the user logs in. This is another thing, I don't know actually what it is. Windows will not automatically activate after installation. So this is another thing, not to activate the Windows operating system, okay, after installation. Anyway, in the auto-attended file also, it will contain the serial number to activate it. In another section, it will activate it actually. Okay, so he's saying in short that we will configure a Windows computer to use English as language, the first language, and time zone, or the display language, and the time zone will be Egypt, and to prevent the server manager from being opened and Windows from automatically activating. So all of this section in the auto-unattended file is saying. And then we have another section for the setting here. This is the out-of-the-box experience, a couple of questions that Windows will ask you to answer it, okay, to make or to complete the installation of Windows. Let's see also what does this mean here. Okay, actually, by the way, all of these is provided by Brad or Google Brad. So what I did, I took all of this file, okay, I took this file as a whole and tell Brad or Google Brad to analyze it and explain it. So this is very, very simple to do. Okay, you just copy it and go to Google Brad and tell him analyze this log or analyze this data and tell me what does it mean. So let's see or continue. What does it say? This section says, okay, that the computer will be automatically logged in as administrator. So this is the auto login process. Okay, it will log in automatically with a username to complete the installation of the Windows operating system, or not the Windows operating system, to install additional scripts, as we have said before, from the floppy disk. Okay, to the floppy disk, as I mean, or this to go and then begin installation of these scripts. So these scripts, okay, VirtualBox adds on, Windows Update, cleanup, all of this, you need to log into the Windows to install them or to work with them. Okay, so let's continue and see. Here is saying that uh, first of all, you log in as Packer, this we have created before, and then a self-signed certificate will be used to use it with the WinRM. So we have said that for the Packer to communicate with the virtual machine during the installation, he used two methods. First of all, we use SSL connection when the Windows is not installed yet, and then after installation of the Windows, he'll use the WinRM. So to secure the connection with WinRM, he will use HTTPS. Okay, and then he's telling the firewall to allow this connection to happen. Okay, and use basic authentication with WinRM. Anyway, all of these ones, okay, will be used. These things are used to, or the first four lines will be used to identify the type of connection between Packer and the virtual machine. Okay, this is the first one. Then the Windows edition will be switched from evaluated to volume. So this is the license. Okay, it will change it from evaluation to volume license. Okay, then the computer will be restarted. This is first thing, and then there is a lot of things here. Here is the out-of-the-box experience. The EULA page will be hidden. Local account screen will be hidden. OEM registration screen will be hidden. Online account screens will be hidden. So all of the out-of-box experience phase will be completely hidden. The user will not see it, or it will be bypassed. Okay, I think it will be bypassed. It will be hidden, but it will be answered anyway. Then the location is set to home. So the location of the network will be home. We can change it later when we join the domain or this server to domain. It will be changed to domain or work. Protect your PC will be set to 1. I don't know what that this means. The administrator password will be set to Packer. Okay, this is normal. The registration all will not be specified. Let's see here the conclusion. Here, used to configure a new Windows computer to automatically log on as the administrator with the password Packer, enable WinRM, and switch from evaluation to VLL. So this section, it will continue working with the uh, Windows, okay, operating system. It will log in, okay, with a certain password. It will communicate with the Windows using WinRM. So all of these will be done. Let's see the last section here. The last section it will do, or the last section anyway. By the way, there is some things here, guys. This section also, it will contain some things to be done. It will not only log in, okay, and change from evaluation to volume, but certain PowerShell scripts will be, if you can see here these lines, certain PowerShell scripts will be added. Okay, some PowerShell scripts, for example, these two PowerShell scripts will change from volume to evaluation. Okay, this is something. And there is a lot of things actually, or there is a couple of PowerShell scripts that will be added, or it will be implemented. Anyway, the last thing we need to see here, he will disable UAC. This is a very critical service. He's saying here, UAC is a security feature in Windows that helps to protect your computer from malicious software. When UAC is enabled, it will prompt it for permissions before making changes to your computer. Disabling UAC can make your computer more vulnerable to attack, but it can also make it easier to use. This is one thing. When we install or on Windows Server, we disable this service. Why? Because sometimes it may conflict with the antivirus, because sometimes the antivirus need to change some system files to cure, for example, from viruses, or to check something. So this will make a conflict between some programs. This service will make some conflict with some programs on the server. So we disable it completely, and we will take another security measure to make sure that we are protected from ransoms and similar things. Okay, then here is a detailed explanation of the setting. Offline service, this setting specify the setting in the file that we upload during anyway. So there's a couple of things. that will be done in the XML file or the last section of the XML file. So all of these things will be done automatically during the installation of Windows. Okay, so this is one thing we need to stress on. And then let me show you all another thing. This is, we have discussed the JSON file. Let me show you what also Brad have said about this file. So we can see here, I have discussed all of these, but here this is Brad explanation. Here is explanation of the Packer configuration file. This file, okay, he will begin explaining it. First of all, boot wait, the amount of time to wait after the VM boots before continuing. Disk size, the size of the VM disk in megabytes. ISO sumcheck, the sum check of the Windows ISO image. Okay, this is something to make sure that the file is not tampered with. ISO URL, the URL of the Windows or the location of the ISO image. Memory size, the amount of memory allocated to this VM in megabytes. MVU, CPU, the number of CPUs to allocate to the virtual machine, the name of the virtual machine. WinRM, the password of the WinRM service on the VM. This will be used to connect, to make Packer connect to the virtual machine, the username and password, and then the section. So this is are all for the variables section. Here he is explaining the first section, the one that I have discussed before, the variables. He is discussing them, and then he will discuss the builders. Okay, let's go and see what Packer or what Google Brad have to say about it. Okay, here is saying that the builder section defines the steps that Packer will take to create the VM. In this example, he have two builders. VMware ISO, the first one. The builder will create a VM using VMware Sphere or VMware Workstation Pro, and VirtualBox ISO, the builder will create a VM using VirtualBox. So we will use the second one, okay? And then there is a couple of parameters in the VMware ISO or in the VMware VirtualBox. Let me go to the other section of the VMware VirtualBox. He's saying about, anyway, this is also, we can use this. He is this explaining the same one. So guest OS type, here we can see, for example, the guest OS type, but let's go further down. Okay, the guest OS type, he will begin describing this one. Okay, so he's saying here, let's go further here. He was saying that guest OS, the type of operating system that the VM will run, the VM name, boot command, the commands that will be executed when the VM boots. If you go to the VM command, boot command space. Okay, I think this is to tell him to boot in a certain order, or the issue a command to boot. Okay, then let's go further and see ISO URL, the location of the ISO file, the sum check of the ISO file. This was provided earlier in the variables section. Okay, and then headless, whether the VM will be run headless. I don't know what will this mean. Disk size, this we'll get it from the variables section. Communicator, the way it will communicate was the VM. He will use VM, or he will use WinRM. Okay, this is the one, and he will use SSL. Okay, SSL connection, or to secure it. Okay, this all of things are related to WinRM. Floppy files. This, as I said before, he will add a floppy device. Its main function to contain the scripts that will be used to automate installation of certain services or programs or whatsoever, like automating installing Windows updates and install of VirtualBox guest additions or something. And then there is the shutdown command. The command will be used to shut down the VM. Shutdown time, the timeout for the shutdown command. Skip compaction, whether the Packer will skip compaction of the VM at the end, it will export the virtual machine. So if you need it to be compacted, this export to be compact or not. VMX data, a map of the properties that will be set in the VMX file. So he's here explaining in details all of these things. Okay, shutdown command, timeout, all of these are explained in details. Okay, and at the end, the provision section, this is the scripts will be installed after the operating system installation finished, or after logging into the Windows operating system. The VirtualBox adds disable auto login. So after logging into the Windows and install the necessary programs, before shutting down the machine, will disable auto login, because for the Packer to install these scripts he need to log into the machine, and this done or log into the to the Windows using a Windows account. This process should be done automatically. So after finishing all of this, we will disable auto login. Okay. So let's continue saying what Packer has to say about it. At the end, he's saying that provisions. He say that this kind of scripts are used using PowerShell. So this section is saying that the type of scripts are PowerShell. You can, I think, use Bash or something like this, but this is the type of scripts that will be used. Okay, using the PowerShell. Okay. He's saying here that the PowerShell provision has a number of properties that define how PowerShell will be used to configure the VM. For example, the scripts property defines a list of PowerShell scripts that will be executed. This is what I'm talking about. So he will execute all of these scripts, okay, uh, after logging into the Windows, okay? So this is one very good explanation. And then here we can see that this is a table, okay? He is explaining it in a table. So I leave these two things in a Google Drive link in the description of the video. So let's recap, or let me first close all of these, and then let me show you all a little bit of a diagram to just recap what we have said. Let's go and continue working. If I open this this is a PowerPoint, okay? So let's open and see a little bit of a diagram here. So this is a diagram. This is the Packer Hashicorp exe file, and then it will go to the JSON file that we have been talking about, and then this JSON file will go to the floppy that contains the scripts to automate Windows updates installation and VirtualBox guest adds in and so and so, and you will go to the ISO file or the ISO image that contains the unattended XML file to automate the installation of Windows operating system. So this is a little bit of diagram to explain it. Okay, how we will do this. So let's go to the folder and see. So what we will do now in this video, we will go and we have all of these are prepared in our folder. So here is the folder. We have the Packer, we have the JSON file, okay, we have the scripts, okay, we have the auto unattended XML file. So all of these are prepared and ready. So we need after that, we need to go and run this JSON file to begin the automation of creation of the virtual machine and to automate the installation of the Windows operating system using the Autounattend XML file, and to automate the installation of the scripts, okay, that will make Windows update, that will install VirtualBox guest additions, and to clean up and to disable the auto login. But before that, I need to say something here. First of all, after installing the VirtualBox, you need to do a couple of things. Okay, before opening the JSON file, you need to create the virtual network that your domain will be with. So we can see here, if we go there, we can see we need to create this virtual network. So we need to create a virtual network. All of these servers and workstations will be added too. So we need to create this virtual network before creating the virtual machines. So what we will do, here it is, we need to go to the tools, okay, and go to network, okay, and then we need to go to the NAT network, okay, this is the one, and tell him to create one. Okay, you can see here that this network is 192.1.1.0. This is it, okay, so we need to tell him, or to create this network will be the one that our virtual machines will be attached to, okay, and we need to tell him to do not enable DHCP because we will install a DHCP server, okay, so we need to create this before doing anything, create the virtual network. This is one thing to do, okay. So let's go further and go to the welcome screen. Okay, these actually are the servers at the end. So this is 2022, the first domain controller, the second domain controller, and the DHCP and the file server and a lot of things actually, and WSOS. So this is the first thing to do. We need, before working with the JSON file, to create the virtual network. This is number one. And we need to do another thing actually. We need to change the setting of your host network, What I mean by this, let me show you one thing. Okay, if you go, this is my Wi-Fi connection. If you go to the properties, okay, and then if we go to the TCP IP properties, we need to add in the preferred DNS, this is Google DNS. Why are we doing this? Because when we use the packer to automate the creation of the virtual machine and installation of Windows, it will need an internet connection to install the VirtualBox or to update the VirtualBox adds-on, and to get the Windows updates, he need to have an internet connection. So if you don't do this, we not define preferred DNS in your host connection, it will not go to the internet. Actually, this is weird because uh, actually the virtual machine, it is configured to use the host network connection, okay, in the beginning, but for a certain reason it is not working properly, so we need to do this step. Okay, so all of this are done. So we have uh, get the VirtualBox, we have get the Packer Hashicorp, and to get the files needed or the JSON files needed, here we go. We have the JSON file, we have the floppy disk scripts, we have the auto-attended XML file, we have all of these. Okay, so these are all created and done. So we need now to see the process in action. By the way, there is a couple of things you can do to automate the download of, for example, Windows ISO file. This is, if you go to this line, it's telling him to invoke URL so and so. This is a command that you can use to automatically download an ISO file through the PowerShell, actually. And also in later videos, we will discuss how we can, for example, automate the download of a VirtualBox and other programs, automate the installation and the download as well. We will use this later in the videos when we are working with MDT deployment or working Microsoft deployment toolkit. Okay, so this is something we need to put or to focus on. Let's go and see the video. So now I will show you all of this to be translated in action, or this all to be done in action. So let's open the video and see. Okay, let me first see how much time we have. First of all, just a moment. So just we need to see how much time we have. Okay, 47 minutes. Okay, we can continue. So this is the folder. We need to open a PowerShell command, okay, and issue a certain command that will tell Packer file to go to the JSON file to begin the creation of the virtual machine and to automate the installation. Let me show you all this. So this is the command. We need to copy it, okay, and open the PowerShell and run as administrator. Okay, and then let's wait for a moment. And then we need to go to the path that contains the Packer file. So it is ND, okay, this is the location of the file, Packer4, okay, and then we need to go to another folder inside this one, okay, and then tell him dir, okay, so this is the location of the JSON file. Here we will issue a command. Let me show you all what I mean by this. So what we mean, to use the Packer exe file, and then some parameters to use the VirtualBox section in the JSON file, and this is the JSON file. So here tell him the Packer program to use VirtualBox as its hypervisor, and to use this file that we were discussing in a couple of seconds ago. This is the JSON file that will contains the instructions on installing the virtual machine and other things. So let's see what will happen. We will press enter. Now it will take some seconds, okay, until this process. He will begin now communicating with the VirtualBox, okay, and then we will see that he will begin now. First step is to verify the DVD that will contain the Windows operating system, to check its sum check or checksum, to see if he is saying first retrieving the ISO image that contains the operating system. This is the location, and then he will begin checking the its file hash. Okay, he will begin checking the file hash, and then if they are correct, so the JSON file contains the file hash. If the file hash in the JSON file is typically the same that is within this ISO image, it will complete the installation. She need to verify that the file hash in the JSON file is the same as the file hash of the ISO, or the real file hash of the ISO file. Then it will begin communicating with the VirtualBox. Okay, so let's see what will happen. It will take a little bit of time, and then he will begin the process. Okay, he will now begin opening the VirtualBox, and then we'll begin working with the VirtualBox. Let's wait for a moment. It will take a little bit of time. So now what he is doing, now he is now verified that the ISO file is not tampered with. Then he will begin making an SSH connection. He will begin initializing a connection between the Packer program and the VirtualBox interface, okay, using a secure connection. Okay, so let's continue. And then he will begin creating the virtual machine. The first thing what we see here, the virtual machine, it will name its hard disk will be named this, and this is the size that was defined in the JSON file. He will begin mounting the ISO image, okay, of the operating system. Then this is the connection, WinRM connection, and then this is the setting of the virtual machine, the RAM, the processor, the BIOS, its EFI, and then the Autounattended XML file that will be used to automate the process of the installation of the Windows. And then he will start now working with the virtual machine. We will see now it will be opened automatically. So all of these are done automatically. We can see here that all of this is done automatically. Now it will open the VirtualBox, and then it will begin installation. We can see here that the VirtualBox is opened. All you need to do is to just press any key. Okay, so we can see here that press any key, and then the installation of the Windows will begin. Okay, we will not have any, this is called zero touch actually, or light touch, if you can if you need to say that. So now everything will be done automatically. We can see here that okay, now the installation will begin. We can see here it will not ask any question. Okay, it will not ask to accept the license agreement. It will not ask about the computer name. It will not ask about how to partition the hard disk. All of this will be done using the unattended XML file. Okay, so let's wait and see. It will take some time. Okay, and we can see here how much time we have saved. Okay, so the creation of the virtual machine is automated, the installation of the Windows will be automated, the updating of the Windows operating system will be automated, the installation of some programs will be automated. All of this is done using the Packer Hashicorp. So we can see here, we wait for a couple of seconds. Okay, we will continue. Okay, it will take some time. Actually, I'm now just pausing the video until all of this is changed. So let's continue. Okay, 62%, 63%. Okay, all of this. 80%. Okay. So we can see here that all of these are done without any interaction from the user. So all of this is done. Installing updates, it will take some time, and then at the end it will restart the machine, and then it will continue the installation of the Windows operating system. We need to notice that we don't have, or we didn't see, or we will not see a lot of things in the normal installation of the Windows. We will not see the out-of-the-box experience interfaces. We will not be asked to create a user account. we will not be asked to provide a password. We'll be auto-logged to the Windows. Okay, so let's see how this process is automated. Very, very good utility actually. And here we can see something. Let's wait for a moment here. Here we say that, okay, here is boot for 5 seconds, trying the boot command, and then he's trying to communicate with the virtual box, okay, but he cannot because the WinRM service, it is not still available. It will be available once the installation is complete. Okay, so we have already used SSH connection to initialize the VirtualBox booting process and creation, and then he will use the WinRM after that, but after the installation of the Windows. Okay, so let's see and continue. Very, very detailed steps and logical steps actually. We will wait until the installation of Windows complete. Okay, so here we can see that devices is ready and so on, so, and then he will begin installation, okay, getting ready, and then actually is finalizing your setting. So all of this, we don't have anything to ask for, or we are not asked for anything, okay, and still the WinRM is not, the WinRM is very critical because he will use it to communicate with the virtual machine to begin implementing the scripts, okay, to install VirtualBox guest add-on and to update Windows and to clean up the Windows update files. Okay, so still we are waiting, and at the end it will export this machine. Okay, if you need to back it up, okay, it will. We can see it's auto logged in. We can see that administrator, the user is created called administrator, and the password is provided automatically, and you are auto logged in. All of this will be done. Okay, and we can see here also that there is some PowerShell scripts. This PowerShell scripts is to activate the WinRM service, okay, and to make it secure so he can complete the installation process. Okay, so this is related to the WinRM activating the WinRM service and securing it, and then begin or complete the installation. Here we can see a certificate is issued, and then it is used with the WinRM to secure the connection, okay, between Packer and you can see WinRM, okay, with Packer to secure the connection between Packer and VirtualBox, so no hacker can intervene actually. And he's saying that local accounts are given administrative rights. I don't know what anyway this could mean. Anyway, so it will complete the process. All of these are taken from the Autounattended XML file, okay, so it will complete the process, okay, and we will see in another window the phases. He will begin working with each phase, okay, in the JSON file. So now he is working with the WinRM configuration and securing all of this to ensure that the connection is secure. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, it will continue. Actually, the whole process, we have discussed the process, and all of this are discussed in 47 minutes, but the whole process will not take about, maybe if you have a good machine, it will not take 30 minutes actually, or maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes at most, if you are using SSD hard disk and you have a lot of RAM or something. So let's wait and see. So now he's restarting. So we have finished the configuration of the WinRM service because this is very critical to continue communication with the virtual machine and begin the installation. Auto logged in, here auto logged into the Windows. Okay, and then we will see that the WinRM service is activated, and then he will begin the second phase for installing VirtualBox guest add-ons and updating the Windows, and then after that clean up the Windows updates and then shut down the machine at the end. And after shut it down, it will export it. Okay, so let's see here. So he's connected now using WinRM, and then he will begin installing the VirtualBox. Okay, VirtualBox add-on. He will go to the internet and see the latest VirtualBox guest add-on. Okay, so let's wait and see. He's pausing for 1 second before going to the phase of installation, or he is pausing for 1 second before going and going to install the VirtualBox add-on. He is going to the internet and then get the file. Okay, or get the VirtualBox add-on. By the way, this machine is connected to the internet. It's using your guest network, okay, using the NAT option. Okay, so now he's connected, and he will begin an installation of the VirtualBox add-on. This will take a little bit of time. So let's continue and see. He will have a little bit of time. So we will pause the video. Okay, now he is installing, or the script, we have seen this one, the script. He will begin installation of it. Okay, it will take a little bit of time. And then he can go after that to, by the way, I have removed the Windows updates or the script to update Windows because it will take a lot of time. You can do this. It will take actually a lot of time to record the video. So I will update the Windows after finishing of the virtual machine. Anyway, so he's now downloading VirtualBox guest add-on or additions. He will begin downloading it and then begin working with it. Actually, he will secure also the download of these files. Okay, so he have already downloaded the VirtualBox add-on ISO file from the internet and then begin installing it, but he will install VirtualBox certificates just to make sure that it is secure. I think he is a trusted publisher. Anyway, to make sure that he is downloading the correct file from the correct provider. Okay, so now he is begin installation of the VirtualBox guest additions. Here I'm trying to adjust the window. It will adjust automatically after installation of the add-on anyway, or the additions. Okay, so it will take a little bit of time. Okay, so let's wait and see. It will take some time. Now we have already, if we can see here, that we have already installed it. Okay, have installed the VirtualBox guest additions. Then he will go to disable auto login. So now he has finished installation of the VirtualBox. Now the second phase is to disable auto login before shutting down the machine. So now we have finished the process of automating the installation of Windows and installing scripts, okay, or installing the necessary scripts, programs, or even what you need. You can add any script you need in the folder that I have showed you earlier. So if you need to do more things, if you, for example, if you go to this one and we go to Packer 4, in this section, you can add any script you like, okay, to be implemented on the machine, and then you can go to the JSON file and add the section to run this script. Okay, so this is a good thing to do. Now we will see it will disable auto login because now it will shut down the machine, and then it will begin after that it will begin sorry, before disable auto login, I think before that he need to clean the machine. Here I have left the clean script to clean the machine from any unnecessary files, Windows update files and something like this. But actually I didn't make a Windows update, so this is not necessary anymore. So let's wait and see. It will take a little bit of time. So we will end this video after finishing the exporting of this machine. Okay, so we will export it, okay, at the end after finishing it, installation, everything, and then we'll prepare it and put it in our network. Okay, put it in our 192.168.1.0 network So after that, we will begin preparing it to be a domain controller and so here we can see it is disable auto login, okay, and then it will clean up the machine from Windows update files. Okay, anyway, I didn't do this so not to make the installation process more. Okay, so we will wait for a couple of minutes. Let's wait for a couple of minutes. So here I'm trying to switch the machine anyway, but the display it will be corrected after uh, the finishing of the installation. Okay, so it will take a little bit of time. Now it is cleaning up. Okay, cleaning up the Windows update files, but I didn't do any Windows update. I have intentionally removed this line from the JSON file. Okay, but in the upcoming videos I will show you all uh, why I did this, because actually there is a little bit of a trick here. I will discuss it in the upcoming video, why I didn't make Windows update during the installation of Windows. Okay, so not to make the video longer, and there is another reason actually. I will discuss it in the upcoming video. Okay, so now he is beginning to stop the Windows update services, and then he will begin cleaning the software distribution folder, which is the folder that contains the Windows update files. Okay, and then at the end, after finishing this, he will shut down the machine, and then he will begin exporting this machine. So we can see here gracefully halting. Here is now signed out, and then he will begin shutting down the machine. So this is, we have finished the creation of the virtual machine, installation of Windows, installation of necessary files or programs or scripts, and then he is shutting down the machine, and then he will begin exporting the machine. Okay, so he now is executing to export to the machine, and it will be compacted. It's not be compacted, okay, actually. And then let's wait here. Here he finished in 50 minutes or 58 minutes and 48 seconds, actually, because my machine is a little bit slow. But if you have SSDs and make the virtual machine RAM little more, it will be in less time. Okay, so we will go to this virtual box. What he have done, he exported the virtual machine, and then he deleted the machine itself from the virtual box. So we need to import it back and then begin tweaking the setting so to attach it, this virtual machine, to our network, and then boot it up and begin or completing the joining it or creating a domain and so on. So let's wait and see. We will go to the folder that you have exported it. So we will exit, and then this is the folder output, and this is the file. Okay, it is 8 gigabytes. So we'll open the virtual box, okay, and then import this file. So you can see here, if we have a little bit of a look here, you will see that no virtual machine is created. He have, after finishing the installation and creation, he have deleted the virtual machine, but before that he exported it. Okay, so let's import it back. We will import the appliance, and then we'll go to the folder, okay, and then tell him to import the machine. Okay, and then after that we'll begin changing this virtual machine setting. I need to add an additional hard disk. I need to change the network. I need to play with the display card. Okay, a lot of things actually should be done. So let's wait and see. Now he will import the appliance. Okay, guest OS type. Actually, there is some things need to be changed, but I will show you all what I mean by this. Just wait for a moment. He will import the appliance. Okay, it will take some time. Okay, some time. And by the way, there is a user called administrator and packer. So this will use it to log into the machine, and then after that, joining the domain, this account will be disabled. Okay, so now we will see some settings here. Okay, this is the machine setting. We need to change the video memory to 18. Okay, and to make this, leave this as Vega or Vivox Vega, the type of graphic controller, because if you make it Super Vega, it will make some errors. Okay, and we need to add another storage to add additional hard disk and to change the network from NAT to 192.168.1.0, the one that we have created earlier. Okay, so let's see how we can do this, and actually also to add some folders to share it between my laptop and this virtual machine. So let's open the setting. Okay, this is the display. We need to make it 18. Okay, and this to be Vega, not Super Vega. He is telling you to change it to Super Vega. No, leave it at Vega. Then we will change to NAT network, and this is our network. So this is the network, NAT network. What do we mean by this? We mean that our network will be 192.168.1.0. It will be internally, and it will be also connected to the internet. So it's not an internal network. It's an internal network, and it is also connected to the internet. Okay? Because sometimes you need your virtual machines to be internally only, not to communicate with the internet, or to be externally communicate or connected to the internet and not internally, or if you need to have both, then you need to have this option. Okay, and actually also I need to add two network adapters because I will make some network teaming in the future. So I need to add additional hard disk, I need to add another network card, I need to and attach it to the same network, and I need to do a couple of things. So let's see what will be done. So it is storage. We need to add, okay, not this one, we need to add an additional hard disk. Okay, so we'll tell him to create an additional hard disk. Okay, so I have two hard disks. Okay, one will be 300 gigabyte and the other will be 50. Okay, one for the operating system and one for the data. So now we will do this. We'll create another virtual hard disk. Okay, it will be dynamic. Okay, and then we will tell him to be 50 gigabyte. Okay, 50 gigabyte, and then create. Okay, and then choose. Okay, and then we have two hard disks. We need to add another network card. Okay, so we go to the general. Here we can see that he didn't recognize the system. We need just to change it. Actually, the JSON file, we type it the guest operating system, or the guest operating system, we type it incorrect. So now we will just tell him that this is Windows 12 R2. Okay, this will be fixed in the installation of the second domain controller. Okay, we not need to do this. Actually, it was defined incorrect in the JSON file. Okay, so this is it, and then we will go and this is the RAM. We need to change the display to 18. We can see here is some invalid setting. We will see what this mean. Okay, so we can see invalid setting. You need to take care of this exclamation mark. Okay, before that. Okay, so we need to change the video memory and to add an additional network card. Okay, so we'll do this. Okay, add, and then we'll see some invalid setting. Here is saying that the display, you need to have your video memory to be 18 just to make or to change from full screen or seamless screen. So this will help you to make the virtual machine full screen. If the video memory is less than 18, you will not be able to make the virtual machine or to make it in full screen. Okay, so we'll go to display and change it to 18. And then he's saying this graphic controller to be super Vega. Okay, but I recommend to leave it as it is because this had made some problems with me. Anyway, so still he will ask you to change it to Super Vega. Okay, don't change it to Super Vega. Okay, I have some, I don't actually, because I have maybe Intel graphic card, so it was making problems with this type of display controller. Okay, so do not do this. Okay, leave it as it is. Okay, so you need to choose this Super Vega. Okay, and then do not forget to add an additional network card. Okay, so we need to add an additional network card and something else also, to add some folders to be shared between my laptop and this virtual machine. This is another thing to say also. So now I have forgot to add another network card. Okay, so now I will start the virtual machine. If you can go there, okay, so it's begin loaded, okay, and then here we will log in using Packer. Okay, this is user called administrator and then Packer, but I forgot to add. First of all, I need to add some shared folders between my host and my guest. And this is something actually what I'm doing here. I am telling him to the clipboard between. If I copy thing from my laptop to this virtual machine, then I need to open the shared clipboard and bi-directional and drag and drop. Okay, so I need to tell him in the shared clipboard and drag and drop to tell him bi-directional, so I can copy and paste and drag and drop between my host and my guest. Okay, so this is one thing also to note. And then I need to add some folders to be shared between between me and this virtual machine, or between my host and my guest. Okay, because I need to implement some scripts, and so I have some folders to be shared. Okay, so we'll go and add it. I have some folders. I need to share it with this virtual machine, and this will be feasible because we have already installed the VirtualBox guest editions. Okay, so now we will tell him to add this folder, auto mount, and make it permanent. And then okay, we have another two folders to be added. Okay, okay, and then we'll add another folder. Okay, actually we are reaching the end of this video, but just to add these folders and then add another network card, and then the upcoming video with God will, we will discuss how to use scripts to automate the installation of Active Directory, DNS, promoting the server to be a domain controller, to do all of these things actually. So let's wait and see. Now we are adding another folder. Okay, we will have three folders to be shared between my host and my guest. And then the network, we need to add another network adapter. I forgot to do this. So if you need to make Control Alt Delete, you need to get to the input. Okay, so this section. Okay, and actually you can take a snapshot if you need. And this something that's what, so I've said here just to shut down. What we mean here by shut down the machine. Okay, so here we keyboard and then Control Alt Delete, or insert Control Alt Delete. This is Packer. Okay, we have defined this password in the Autounattended XML file. Okay, now we will do, and then we will shut down the machine. So now we will shut down the machine. You will see auto adjust. Okay, just to adjust the display. Here we can see that it was displayed now. We can see we cannot access the internet. Now we can take also a snapshot, but first of all, before taking a snapshot, I will shut down the machine. Okay, right click and shut down, and then I will add another network card, because I will do some teaming, because one of the best practices, if you have a domain controller, to have two network cards and make teaming between them for redundancy. Okay, so we go to the network, and then we'll add another adapter, enable, and attach it to the same network like the first one, 192.168.1.0. So this is it. We will stop. Let me see first here. Well, this is the shared folders. Okay, we will add another folder, and I will stop at this point. Okay, so we'll go there, and then this PC, and then go further. We will add another folder. Okay, and I will stop at this point, but first here, and then auto mount, and then okay, and then we will stop. We'll start this virtual machine, but first of all we will stop here. I will stop at minute 26, and we will continue working with this video, or we'll continue working the upcoming video. Hope this video is informative for you all, and thank you all for viewing. No, do not forget to subscribe to the channel, and to make like and share, and so on and so on. If you need to take a special course or a private course with me, you can communicate with me on my Facebook page, or my WhatsApp number, or my email karim.raouf@gmail.com, or my Telegram channel IT Visualizer. Hope this video is informative for you all, and thank you all for viewing.